All right, moving on to 9.6, choosing the sine or cosine law. So this is the section where you go between the two. Let's look at the first question. We have, write the form of the cosine law for solving y, angle y. Well, cos of y equals, so we're looking for this angle. It's just our formula, s squared plus t squared minus y squared all over 2s times t. You can also replace these a, b, c and just put whatever you want in there. So how can you decide which law to use? Well, reflection. What information do you need so that you can use the sine law to solve a triangle? And what do you need for cosine law? Well, for sine law, the formula is an angle over side equals angle over side. So we need two sides and an angle, or two angles and a side, or, yeah, that's basically it. So that's for sine. For cos, we can use all sides to figure out an angle, or we can use a combination of sides and angles to find a side. So let's take a look. Measurement to determine the angle. So we want this angle. Information given, two sides and an angle. Well, two sides and an angle, this could be sine law. This one, two angles and a side. Two angles and a side, and we're looking for a side, sine law again. This one says two sides and the contained angle. So we have angle, two sides, that has to be cos. Because for the sine law to work, we would need the opposite side. And then three sides and no angles, that has to be cos as well. Because with sine, you always need at least one angle. Okay, let's look at the examples. We have Rory. He's an interior designer in Portage-la-Prairie. She wants to combine these tiles with other tiles to tile a wall. She needs to know the side lengths and angle measurements of these tiles. How should Rory begin to solve each triangle at the right? These are our ones at the right. We have angle, side, side, and angle, angle, side. Well, we can use different formulas to do that. So our hint is use the chart from page 238 to help you decide. The chart that we just did. How should Rory begin to solve each triangle? For PQR, Rory knows two side lengths and an angle measure that is opposite of the one side. She should use the, which one? Sine. If you said sine, you're right. She should use the equation sine r over r equals sine q over q to determine angle r. That's for that one. If you don't remember, we're talking about this one up here. So if we're looking for r, you have QQ, little r, big R. We're looking for big R, you have to use sine. For STV, Rory knows two angle measurements and one side. She should use the sine law. She should use the equation little v over sine v equals s over sine s to determine side v. And let's take a look. We're looking for a little v here. V, S, S, it's sine. So when you get these questions on like an exam, you have to figure out which one to use at what time. So example 2, Mario manufactures custom windows. One design has missing information. How can Mario determine the length of side S and the measure of angle F? So we want a S and we want angle F. This one might actually be cos, yeah. Mark a check mark beside the things you know. So check mark, check mark, check mark. Why? Mario should use cosine law. First, because he knows two sides and the contained angle. And the contained angle. The contained angle means it's in between the two sides. What equation should he use? Well, let's figure out little s. Little s squared equals f squared plus h squared minus 2fh cos s. Good. Fill in the blanks. So this is our little f here. This is our little h here, and our cos s is 67. So plug it all in. 96 squared plus 144 squared minus 296, 144, cos 67. Plug that into your calculator. Remember to do this and this together, and then subtract them. You'll get a big number, square root it, and you'll get 138 inches. Does that make sense? It does. It would fit in our triangle. Now, C, how can Mario determine the unknown value? So we have this, this, this. Now, how would we get, let's say, F? Well, let's use sine because now that we have little f, we're looking for big F, and we have little s and big S, we can do that. So sine F is little f equals sine S over little s. Flip the f to the other side. Sine F equals little f, which was 96, times sine of 67 degrees over 138 that we just calculated. This equals a decimal, 0.64. Remember to inverse sine it so that we get an angle. And our sine of F, right? Yeah, I'll just put degree F is equal to, angle F is equal to 40 degrees. And there we go. So now we can even calculate H because it's 180 minus these two would give us H. So that's how you do a combination of the two in a question. Let's see what's on the next page. Oh, we got practices. All right. So the practice says, how would you begin each solution for A? Let's see, I would use the blank law. Well, big C, little c. If we're trying to solve for, let's say, A, big A, big C, little c, that's sine. And I would start with angle A. So it's your choice where you want to start, but I would do that for that one. How about this? We have three sides, that's cos right away. I would use cos law to solve any angle. And you can just pick any angle and type that in, and you'd spit out an angle. This one, let's see. Oh, it's contained. As soon as it's a contained angle, and it has to be cos law. And we would start with D, the opposite of the contained. So side D. And let's look at this last one here. Angle, side, well, we can figure out this angle right away just by subtracting. So that's what I would do. Subtract to get angle H first. So that's not even using a law yet. I would just be getting that H right away and then doing the other ones. Good. Let's see, look at 2 here. Molly made triangle earrings. What is the measure of the interior angles? Okay, so we have 3 sides. Let's make it, what do we're looking at the top here. What do we have to do first? Well, the one with 3 was here. We have to use cos. So cosine. And let's pick one. Let's do E. Cos E equals G squared plus F squared minus E squared all over 2GF. Calculate it. You're going to get angle E is equal to something. Plug it in, do it. Then we'll have to do cos of G, and I'll spit out the formula for you. That equals E squared plus F squared minus G squared all over 2EF. This will give you angle G, which is something. And then the last one is cos F, and that equals 180 minus angle G minus angle E equals what it will be. So these 2 we get from earlier, plug them in there, and you'll minus it from 180 and get the last angle. And then we're done. B here. Find 2 classmates who started with a different angle. Are their answers the same? It would be yes. Of course. Okay, that one's yours. Let's look at 3. It says Jackson is attending a football training camp 85 kilometers away. A flood washed out the road. He has to take a detour as shown to the right. Oh, sorry, let's make that a little bit better. How long is the detour? And then B, how much longer is a detour than the direct route? Okay, let's do that. I'll do that one with you guys. So our detour is, how long is a detour? That's S. We have to know 83 and we have to know S. So let's solve for S. S squared is R squared plus T squared minus 2RT cos S. Plug it all in. We have 85 squared plus 83 squared minus 2 times 85 times 83 cos of 29. And that'll all equal, make sure to square root it, 42 kilometers. When we look at our question, we're dealing with 85 and 85, and 42 would probably fit in there. So yeah, that's right. So the detour, how long is the detour, is going to be that 83 plus the S, which was 42. So that'll be 125 kilometers. So how much longer is the detour compared to the direct route? Well, that's just taking the 85 and subtracting it from the total of these 2. So it would be 125 that we just calculated, kilometers, minus the regular route, 85, is equal to about 40 kilometers longer. Okay. Number 4, we have 2 airplanes. Their paths make 75 degrees. The first airplane flies that far at that speed. The other one's at that speed. How far apart are they after an hour? I will give you the formula for that one. So you want to figure out little a. You have this, this, and this. Contained angle means cos. So we have to use the cosine law, which would be a squared is p squared plus q squared minus 2pq cos a. That's all I'll give you. Tell me what a is. 5. Lino is a surveyor in Nunavut. His team is building a bridge. Measured the distance along the shore from point S to the footing. He measured angle S. How long can the bridge be? Okay, so we're looking for little s. We have two angles. Ooh, we can figure out angle C right away because that's just 180 minus 63 minus 46. So that will be 71. Good, so now we know that one. That was quick. 71 degrees for C. And what else do we need? So we have big C, little c. We have big S, little s. What are we going to use? It will be sine. So let's look, what's little s then? Sine S equals, not cos. Why did I say cos? Little c over sine c. Mr. K is dyslexic sometimes. Okay, we're gonna flip this one up to that side to isolate for S. S will be sine of big S, which is 46, times C, which is 200, over sine of big C, which is 71. Little s is going to be equal to 152 meters. Good. Okay, that's it, I think. Yeah. So now you know how to use cosine and sine law for the potential future exam that you might do, and for in life. You'll know how to use triangles. Next up, we'll be moving on to Unit 5, which I believe is, I think, statistics.